Welcome back to Malt Mondays. I'm Paul, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Macallan 10-year-old Fine Oak. This is the entry-level offering from the Macallan distillery, which is one of the most well-known distilleries around the world, quite frankly, just because they've been featured in films like James Bond, and the Macallan has kind of become the Apple of the Scotch industry, so to speak. They tend to have higher price points at equivalent age statements compared to many other single malts. You see their 12-year-old normally priced around $70 in my area, whereas most distilleries' 12-year-olds are priced in the $50 to $60 range. So that's kind of given people a little bit of bad blood towards Macallan in the last few years. But to be fair, it's a product of how much people recognize Macallan as being a quality single malt and a consistently good quality single malt, not just a fluke one or two bottlings here and there that win world awards. They're very regularly considered the standard by which many other scotches are judged. So a few years ago they introduced the Fine Oak series, and this was a bid to bring in a lower price point. The normal 12-year-old and 18-year-old, 21, 25, etc. was all sherry casks. And that was Macallan's claim to fame for a long time, was they used only the highest quality casks, only sherry casks, and that was what they were known for. Well, sherry casks are expensive, so they started a Fine Oak series, which uses both Spanish sherry casks and American sherry casks and American bourbon casks. What that does is it allows Macallan to charge less for equivalently aged whiskey, more or less, because the process is a little bit cheaper. It also adds some flavor to the Macallan that's not normally there when you have only sherry maturation. So let's see. The thing that's very important to note is natural color. It doesn't say it on the bottle, but they do say it in a lot of their marketing material. Macallan does use all natural coloring. And that's really nice to see, because that means that they believe in their product enough to not try and make it look older than it is. They rely only on the coloring that is imparted to the whiskey by the casks, which means it's real. They're not trying to fool you. They are relying on the quality of the spirit. So let's see. Macallan Fine Oak, triple cask matured, distilled at the Macallan distillery, and matured in a combination of exceptional oak casks. European oak seasoned with sherry, American oak seasoned with sherry, and American oak seasoned with bourbon. The triple cask combination delivers an extraordinarily smooth, delicate yet complex single malt matured at the Macallan distillery for a minimum of 10 years. It is bottled only at 40%. So many distilleries are moving towards bottling at a higher proof because they realize, well, people like cask strength whiskeys, people want more whiskey in their bottle and less water. And unfortunately, with the Macallan 10-year-old, that's not what you're getting. You're getting the bare minimum of what they can legally call whiskey. And coming from a premium brand like Macallan, that kind of hurts, because it means that they really do view this 10-year-old offering as the poor man's Macallan, so to speak. But as you can see in my glass there, it's got a nice golden color to it. And again, that is all natural, and it's much lighter than the sherry Macallans, the all sherry Macallans, because of that bourbon cask influence. So let's see how it smells. Oh, it's wonderful. I've got some notes here on it, and we'll see if I agree with what I said last time. I get a light sherryness. It's almost like a second fill sherry rather than first fill, and I think that's because so much of it is done in bourbon. I get some fresh cut fruits. I called it pear. I definitely get some stewed apples. I get red apple, vanilla, and just a little bit of oakiness, like a young, fresh oakiness. And there's even There's even some of the malt coming through, which you don't normally see in Macallan because of the extreme sherry influence that most Macallans have. So we're going to see how it tastes. It's delicious. There's a little bit of a burn to it, and I will say it's not as smooth as you expect a Macallan to be, and that's saying something considering that it's only 40% ABV. That being said, even though this does have a burn to it, there's so much wonderful flavors there. There's a little bit of a milk chocolate. There's again some apple. What else? A little bit of banana. The sherry kind of comes in waves. It kind of goes in and out, balancing with the vanilla and the oak, and it's still going on. So for a 10-year-old whiskey, it has a surprisingly complex flavor. However, the flavor is not that refined on the edges, so there is a little bit of roughness. So I think if I was going to grade this, I would give it a 80 out of 100. And I would give it a slightly higher score than that, actually, just based on the complexity of what's in the bottle. But there is that roughness to it that it's not quite fully there. I think if this was just maybe 2 years older, and there is a 12-year-old fine oak available overseas, which I would love to compare. I think that score would jump up to 85. In terms of your value for your money, I'm gonna say at $70, which is what a lot of places have this for. Buy the 12-year-old. However, if you do like that little bit of bourbon flavoring to it that's different than the standard 12-year-old, and if you can find it at $60, this is definitely worth looking at. I would say it's something that you should probably try it before you buy it. That being said, it is delicious, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's interested in trying it. I hope you'll like, share, and subscribe this video, and come back next week.